so far we really learned a lot. In last video we learned what is nested if-else conditional statement, and now we will just tune a little bit more our script and learn how to check errors. And before we continue, first thing what I want you to do is to create a new file and name it however you want. In my case, I create new file called functions2.py, and I will call it, I call it already functions2.py, and you can call it however you want, just don't forget to put .py in the end. And what I want you to do right now is to select everything from original script and put it in this new one. And let me explain you why we'll do this. Well, everything we did so far is correctly done and it's properly written in the right way of coding. And I just don't want you to forget previous steps, and I want you to keep them for in the new file, these things what we are going to do right now. And everything what we will apply right now, I want you to keep everything did so far. So I don't want you to mess up everything, and later if you go back and try to reverse step by step how we progress in this coding, that you simply get lost. So I want you just to make new file, copy original code to new file, and all changes what we will make here, I want you to make them in new file. So what we have here, we have, like we already learned in previous video, one nested if-else conditional statement. That means that we put if-else under some, we nest it under some other if-else existing conditional statement. And right now what we are going to do, first I will simulate some error, and that error I will simulate commenting 2 lines to get some error message what we want to do. And for example, right now when we put some symbols here, we will get some error which start with value error. And like you see, error what it's mentioned here, it's called value error, what at this moment is not so important, but remember this because we will need it very soon. And I want to remove this in original statement like it was before we continue. So now what we want from our code is to try our code and try to catch error. In our case, error means user input which does not require desired value, and that is 0, float, symbols, text, and negative numbers. So everything what is not positive number for us in this program is error, and that error is actually value error. And if you remember, to make this validation, we make this nested if-else conditional statements, and now we are going to do this using try and except for error handling. So we will first remove this line because we don't need it. We will put here something what it's called try. And that means, if you literally translate what we are doing right now, you're telling Python to try this code, and if something is okay in this code, just execute this if-else conditional statement. If it's not okay, we will replace this else with except. And this except must, and don't have to, but in our case, must be defined with value error. That's why I say, please remember this for later. And like this, let me explain you what we did. This is the logic how this works. The try lets you to test a block of code for errors. The except blocks lets you to handle the error, and the else block lets you to execute code when there is no error. Or in short, that means when we run try first and there is no error, so that means here we run this try and there is no error in this code, that means if else will be executed. So no error, this if else will be executed. And in case there is some error here, except will be executed and will provide us this printed message as a result. Okay, let's try our code right now. And notice that something still not work. When we press 1, it's 100 centimeter. When we press 1.99, and it's this except error. When we put 0, say please don't use 0. But when we put -5, what we get? Nothing. And why is that? Well, it's simple. It's because we don't have anything defined in case that user enter negative value. And how we can solve this? Very easy. We can simply put here else and print please don't use negative numbers. No point, right? And when we run our code right now and we put some negative number, we will get exactly what we want. So I think this is clear enough for everyone. This try except is something what I already explained, but let's do it one more time. When we run try for the first part of code and there is no error, if else in the rest of code under try will be executed. But in case when we get some error, some wrong input in our case, then except block will be executed and we will know what's the error because we defined it right here, right? So this is the way how you can, very common way, how you can test by yourself part of code, block of code, that you see what will going on in case that something not work or in case that something works. So after try, you have some code what you want to execute. Is everything okay with that code? Everything will be executed here. If it's not, then except will reply. And also here, as we have value error, and that means we need to get integer, you can put it without anything and run this application and it will still work. For example, you put some text. This is something what we want to get, right? It will still work, but we want to be more precisely about this, what we are doing, and that's why we put here to be value error, and a value is exactly something what we can get here as invalid input. So guys, this is very short video comparing with others because I put accent only on one part, and in next video we will learn how we can make our program to run as long as we stop it. Right now you see we run command and it stopped, but we want to make it to run as long as we don't say it's enough. See you next video.